All right, so welcome again to the AM show. A reminder that the AM show is sponsored by Kenoga Company Limited and Syntex Tanks. Ghana, let's talk about water tanks. Now, do you know the secret to real water storage? It's simple. If your tank doesn't have the tortoise on it, then it's not the correct tank. That's right. The tortoise tank, Syntex tank, is a champion of water storage, and that's something that, all of you can attest to. It is strong, durable, and built to handle our Ghanaian weather. Rain or shine, Syntex tank has got your back. So go outside, check your tank, and if it doesn't have a tortoise on it, it's time to upgrade. Join the Syntex tank family today and enjoy water storage that's tough like a tortoise. Call us today on 0244 335168, 0244 335168 to buy now, or find one of our 400 agents nationwide. You can also shop online at syntexgh.com. Syntex tank, a strong, a tough. Well, let's get into our niche review segment. We're being joined by Dr. Joshua Zaato, who is a political scientist and a policy analyst. Mr. Afilmoni is former president, GJA. Good morning to you, gentlemen, and welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I trust all is well.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought you were going to carry your protest on air, but we deal with it off air. We deal with your protest off air.
Either way.
What I'll do is that I'll let her come and sit in front of you so you can.
That'll be good.
Anyway, we're also expecting to be joined by Dr. Fred Agbayon, who is MP for Guan. So when he comes in, would introduce him to you. But as we do always, we'll give you 2 minutes each maximum to give us your reflections. I'll start from you, Mr. Felmoni.
My take is on the potential threat to our democracy via elected MP by His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. Mm-hmm. Thank God he has come out to dispel
exactly
all the speculations, all the rumors, all the whispers about any move on his part or his party to extend his stay in office. Third termism or any form of tenure elongation has the tendency to plunge nations into untenable conflicts, intractable wars, brutal coup d'etat, and endless civil wars. And the examples are copious. So this should serve as a blazing beacon, warning us against any attempt to extend the tenure of any president after his term is due.
Okay.
The opposition party, the MPP in particular, has been very strident in dealing with this allegation and throwing poisoned darts against the president for making such an attempt. And we've heard from certain circles, certain chieftaincy circles, for a kind of engineering to our constitution to allow the president to go for a third term. And thank God all this has been put to rest. And as a nation, we need to focus on how to consolidate our democracy, expand our economy to address the basic needs of Ghanaians. And in dispelling the rumors, President Mahama said his focus would be on economic discipline, fiscal discipline, and economic consolidation. Mm-hmm. No, it's a democracy without a strong economic underpinning. It's skittish at best and useless at worst. Mm-hmm. So our focus should be on how to ensure that our economy is so strong as to produce jobs, produce accommodation. Many of those who are sleeping on streets, many of those who are shackled by the ability to sleep in distant places. So these are the issues we should draw our attention. These are issues we should sharpen our focus on, and not any bid by any power-hungry politician to stay in office more than he's allowed constitutionally to do so. So this is my take.
Okay, all right, Dr. Zaato.
Oh, thank you very much. Let me start by wishing a happy and glorious birthday to my son, Banyana Zaato. He turned 11 yesterday. Banyana, happy birthday to you. You know, I asked him what he wanted for his birthday. He gave me a list of storybooks to buy for him to read. I'm like, okay. That looks like something well that he was on the read. So, but you know, thank you. Look, I want to talk about this week. There were a cacophony of noises we heard. But one of the biggest things came from the chairman of the NDC, Johnson Asedi Akwatia, when he boldly declared that the whole concept of a state of emergency to fight Galamsey, not on the table. He doesn't support it. Now, Honorable Johnson Asedi Akwatia doesn't just talk. When he's talking, he talks for the NDC boldly. When he's talking, he talks for the policymakers. That speech was serious because, one, in fact, we were just mourning these gallant 8 heroes who died in the helicopter crash, going to what? Fight Galamsey, going to look for solutions to end Galamsey. And then we were told that let's do something to honor them. The people even said, let's ban Galamsey, or let's ban all surface mining for a year in their honor. The people saying that for their sake and for their memory, let's delay it or let's completely expunge the allies supporting the mining, and then also what? Declare a state of emergency. These were voices. They seem to be a consensus, a convergence of ideas after the death of these people that this is the best thing we can do for their memory, so that their deaths are not seen to be in vain. Only for the national chairman of the NDC to come and just pour cold water on it. Now, that doesn't disappoint me. He's a politician. That's what he wanted. But there were journalists all over this country who advocated for us to what? Declare a state of emergency and expunge it. I didn't hear an uprising from them. There were unions. And in fact, there was labor union, the whole of labor, who stood up and said, no, we have to do this, threaten a nationwide strike to close down the whole country. Then they made 2 demands: declare state of emergency and also what? Remove the airline. I've not heard anything from labor unions, from national labor. My own union, UTAC, we went on strike because of this. National union leaders and local union leaders told us that Galamsey was an existential crisis. Almost a month, or no, there were 2 weeks to examinations. We closed down the universities. Students in the University of Ghana had to sit there doing nothing, waiting the academic calendar, thrown into tatters because we held politicians hostage almost 2 months or 3 months to an election because of Galamsey. We did this, and we even made the politicians to sign a pledge. The pledge saying that they promised to do, among other things, expunge the LI and also declare a state of emergency. Today, UTAC is quiet. Today, labor unions is quiet. Even though the national chairman of the NDC is telling us that they are not going to do that. If you were a union leader, and if yesterday you stood firmly for us to use to declare a state of emergency, but today you have shifted your position, shame on you. Bow your head in shame. If you were a journalist, if you were a civil society organization, and yesterday you advocated strongly for us to declare a state of emergency, but today you've kept quiet, shame on you. Bow your head in shame. And I'm going to say this. If the NDC's noise about Galamsey is what made you to vote for them, you have been used by someone to get a job. It's time we are serious. It's time we go back to the basics. This idea of politicians deceiving us, telling lies, promising one thing when they were in a position, then to come into power, and then they refuse us is what makes us think that, or what people think that all politicians are liars.
But why do
Galamsey is an existential crisis.
But why do you think that people took their decision against Galamsey based on politicians?
Because exactly, that's what I'm saying. Look, before the elections, we saw something, and we are all here. Almost every journalist or media journalist had a gallon of Galamsey water on their table. Am I like? You saw it. especially 4 months or 5 months to election. Almost every journalist that sat in front of a camera had a gallon of Galamsey water, some of them marked by the rivers, as a form of telling people what it is. Today, all the gallons and bottles of water have vanished.
No, I'm not sure it was almost every journalist. It was specific reporters who were chasing the story, who brought it.
That's what I said, almost. That, again, I agree. No, I agree. I'm not saying all. I'm saying almost. A good number of them. I saw them. Our viewers saw them. We saw them. They were there. What happened? Almost now, all of a sudden, not even.
But we have not stopped fighting. We're always telling the story.
I'm not saying a fight. I'm telling you about one particular story. I'm telling you that the story of what making it live. The story of putting the Galamsey water there, because the visuals were powerful. The visuals made people see. They're like, oh my God, we can't believe that water is like this. All of a sudden, they've all disappeared. What, those journalists, when they have the rivers changed to white, have the rivers changed to their natural color? No.
And I'm saying those journalists are still fighting.
Thank you. They are fighting a different way. I agree. Yes. One of them is Erastus Asare Danko. He's in the house. He's a national hero. Look, when the former president was living, and he gave the national awards. I think that was the most deserving awards of all to give it to that man. He's still fighting. But I'm saying that some people have become complicit. Some people have become conveniently quiet. Some people have let this go. Meanwhile, is this still an existential crisis? Will it still kill us? The medical community and research is telling us that cancers and other things are still happening. We are not winning this war. Erastus Asaredanko is somewhere in this house. He's telling us we are not winning this. We just saw the national organizer of the NDC at Akwatia, again, telling everybody that nothing is going to happen. We saw him, we heard him. He said that, yes, Joseph Yamin, saying that the task force is extracting money from miners. It's only extra, but it's not big.
Well, I've not seen it.
I've seen it.
Hold on. I've not seen it one. He's also not here to defend himself. So
okay. I'll move on. Yeah. At the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is this. You were against Galamsey yesterday. That's good. That's patriotic. Today, let's see that. Let's see the noise. Today, let's hold policymakers accountable. Today, let's say that the same vigor, the same vim, the same reason we used to fight Galamsey, let's do it. And that everybody, all the unions, all the labor unions, all the civil society organizations, some of them are still fighting, and I commend them, thank them. Let's still go back to the basics and make sure that we hold these governments feet to the fire, just like we did with the previous government. Because if we don't do that, we will have betrayed generations unborn. If we don't do that, if we don't deal a decisive blow to Galamsey, these are our gallant 8 heroes who died on their way to do it, might have died for no reason. So let's do it. Let's honor them. Let's declare state of emergency. Let's repeal the law, and let's make sure that we go back to the basics to reclaim our rivers and to reclaim our forests. It is the least we can do.
Okay, Dr. Joshua Zaato there. This is the news review segment of the AM show. There are a lot of issues that we'll be discussing now. I have the daily graphic newspaper. On the front page, it says, graphic Greater Home Fair at Accra Mall today. I will not contest 2028 election. My focus on fiscal discipline, President Mahama, and that's what Mr. Afel Money talked about earlier. SHS placement out September 17, Education Ministry. NPP flag bearer race candidate Japan Brian Achampon submit nomination forms. Special supplement on housing. What do you have, Dr. Zaato?
I have the daily guide is saying that Gold Board rules license miners with 822 and a bonus. Okay, Akwatia by elections. MPP unhappy with security. Bank of Ghana bans dollar pricing for services. Brian Achampon files Mahama rules out Tatum. Those are the headlines on the daily graph, on the daily guide.
Okay, Ms. Money.
Daily Democrats. You can't trade in dollars, BOG in ones. Dr. Fusampofo calls for partnership in ICT growth. Gold Board rewards licensed miners. NPA trains tanker drivers on downstream compliance. Dr. Kevo champions Ghana as digital trade hub. And Education Ministry assures transparency in BEC placements.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So that is what it is. Now, there's also this story here, and that's a warning by the MPP. It says we will deal with soldiers who meddle in Akwatia by-election as thugs. The MPP sounding that, warning. But let me go on to, okay, so let's deal with the President Mahama declaring that he won't contest in the election. So President John Dramani Mahama has said he will not contest the 2028 election because per the 1992 Constitution, his mandate will end on January 7, 2029. Quote, I will not be a candidate in the next election, and therefore I can hold the line when it comes to fiscal discipline, unquote, he said. In line with that, the president has pledged to enforce strict fiscal discipline in the lead up to the 2028 general elections, citing his constitutional ineligibility to run for another term as a key factor in ensuring economic stability. His reassuring comment sought to counter claims by some opposition MPP members that he harbored ambitions for a third term, a move that would be unconstitutional under the country's two-term presidential limit. Dr. Zaato, this must be reassuring to you.
No. It was never in doubt. I never doubted the fact that His Excellency would do this. Look, you must understand one thing. Say whatever you like. President Mahama is probably one of the most experienced politicians to ever come the Grand President of Ghana. If you say somebody was prepared for it, somebody was trained for it, you will say that he was the one. He's gone through the whole, he understands this. And the guy realizes, look, I'm sure when he sits back and he looks around and he sees President Kufuor, and former President Kufuor, he's like, listen, I want this. Because they all the council, he wanted. He doesn't want it. No. President Mahama will not. And I can say this without any equivocation. Want to do anything to destroy the democracy that he has been part of for this long. He doesn't want to do it. He won't do that. So yes, this.
So what then influenced some of the people and your colleagues who were predicting that Mahama wanted to
listen? Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So you should always be suspicious of politicians with so much power. You should always be. Because that's something. The NDC has so much power. Executive control, full legislative control to make and change laws, and also, a takeover or full control of the judiciary. So when somebody or when one party has all this power, it becomes legitimate to begin to raise some of these questions. Again, it's possible that there were some hawks or some people in his administration who may want to whisper this into his ears. We don't know. So it's always possible, it's always nice, it's always good that we keep reminding politicians about the limits of their power. So for me, that was not insane. Look, I want to believe that the president will do what he has said to do. Because there's something that I always look at, and we can all look at this. All ministers of finance in their first 2 years, they do very well. Especially when the new government comes. They do the hard work, they are prudent, they spend well, they don't spend well. They do everything to make sure that the budget stays nice. But you watch, almost, by the time you get to the last quarter of the third year and the fourth year, everything is thrown out because the campaign starts. And because incumbents want to win. So the prudence is thrown out of the place, we spend better. So I've always said this, first year, second years are not the time to actually judge how good a Minister of Finance is. Judge a Minister of Finance by what he does or doesn't do in an election year, or president election year. And what he says ties into here. The president is saying that, look, because I am not going for a third term, I can ensure that my finance minister stays within the limits. I can ensure that my finance minister becomes prudent. I can ensure that the sacrifices that we are making, the sacrifices that Ghanaian people are making, are not flushed down the drain just because of somebody's presidential ambitions. So again, that is noble because he will know. He has been a president before and he has seen how these things work. My point is that will his party support him? Because that is also the problem. If you are not the one on the ballot, and it's Mr. Afel Money who is on the ballot, will Mr. Afel Money support your stringent budgetary decisions? Will Mr. Afel Money, in this case, if you are running for president, I'll vote for you. Will he do that? So that becomes the other thing. And secondly, will the party support that? Will the party see that, hey, listen, we are not paying contractors, we are not spending, we are not doing this, we are not doing this? Will the party then support a president who is not running to be prudent, to manage better? So,
but he's the president, not a party.
No, I'm talking about, you see, power is transcendent, and in politics, power is some way. The day the NDC opens their nominations to file for presidential primaries, and the day somebody's come, power is usually seen to have moved. I'm not saying it has moved. It's seen to have moved to the next guy. Almost everybody is now what? Looking up to the guy that's likely to come. All the party structures, everybody's now looking to him or her for favors. During the time, the Americans have a term for it, it's called a lame duck president. The president becomes a lame duck. Now, when you are a lame duck president, can you still hold your party accountable? Can you still tell the president, I want to do this? When you are a lame duck president, can you still hold your finance minister? Because if the party comes to you and say, look, we are picking signals that because of your fiscal prudence, because of this thing we are losing the election, can you still hold it? I'm saying that those become serious challenges going forward. But of course, it's not unsurmountable, it's surmountable, it can be done, it should be done, we should insist that it's done. But that is so, I'm happy that this is going on, but still, let's not trust politicians. Let's still keep emphasizing this and making sure that we run into the head of everybody that absolute power corrupts.
So you are okay with the president declaring that he won't contest, but you are worried whether or not he'll be able to keep the promise of ensuring that fiscal discipline.
Exactly. That particular one becomes difficult. That particular one we will live to see. Because if you honestly, and you know this, just look at all finance ministers. The worst part happened in election year. The worst part, they can keep all the books clean until election year.
Okay, all right, Mr. Money, from where you sit, you have already said that the president has really, sort of put those matters to rest by declaring that he won't run. But do you have confidence that, yes, this is a man on a mission, this is a man who wants to leave a lasting legacy and therefore would go by his words to say, I would ensure fiscal discipline even in an election year?
In the first place, it is not within the bounds of possibility for any sitting government to extend his rule. It is not. Our system will definitely not allow it.
Really?
Yes.
Why do you think so?
Because Ghanaians are awake. Ghanaians know their democratic rights. And you can try Ghanaians to rise to the occasion. We've done it before. We still, some of us who are old have a massive memory of what happened to Achampong. Achampong started well, President Feed himself. He did fed the nation to the extent that we had surplus to export. But along the line, this same power elongation, driven by power intoxication, lured him to float this idea of union government.
Okay.
It did not work. Why? Because we had men of fortitude who stood up against him. And that spells his demise, politically and physically. So history is a guide, and history should guide us not to attempt to lure any president to extend his rule against the Constitution.
Okay.
The Constitution is so clear, written in black and white, that the president should serve 2 terms of 4 years each. After that, you bow out, mind your own business, as before, and others are doing. So nobody, under no circumstance, should anybody dream of tampering with the Constitution, doing any constitutional engineering, either through a referendum or whatsoever, for anybody to stay in power beyond what is constitutionally mandated. Otherwise, it will spell the doom of this country. Otherwise, Ghana, our democracy will be intact. Our democracy will be consigned to the dustbin of history. And nobody can tell what the consequences will be. The media, we can try the media. We can wage this war, effortlessly. Civil society will back us. Opposition parties will join forces with us. It will not happen, and it should not happen. So we should not, we dare not, we cannot, we should not dream of even extending anybody's term in office.
But aside that, when the president says, because I'm not running, I can protect the public purse, especially during the election period, does that give you confidence that that can be done? Does that have to believe that, well, that cannot be done because when your party is losing because of your fiscal discipline, you have to help the party and then you lose guard?
Again, we can follow history to tell us what can happen. And our history is related with all manner of fiscal indiscipline during election year, as Dr. Zaato has said. And so ours is to match his promise against action. And action speaks louder than words. And we understand politicians. Sometimes, you have to dance to the tune of all kinds of, and sometimes certain realities will force you to change, your plans or other. But, and we live in a country where needs are legit, and our resources cannot match our needs. And as a politician, your first mantra, your first goal is winning power. So the mantra is seeking first political power. No other shall be added on to it. So in seeking power, we might be tempted to be indisciplined in terms of running your economy. And this can also trigger all kinds of problems. So let's see, it's a wait and see, we are in a wait and see mood. Let's see whether the president can match his promise with action. So for once, we'll consign to the dustbin this history of fiscal indiscipline. Okay,
all right. I'm happy to now bring in Dr. Fred Agbayo. He is a member of Parliament for Guan constituency. Good morning to you and thanks for coming in.
Oh, but I'm not yet a doctor. I'm here to defend my thesis.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you don't want G-Tech to come after you.
I don't want anybody to come after. Okay. I'm waiting to defend my thesis, please.
Okay, so let me mark it. G-Tech, please. He says.
I want to have my peace and sleep in my room.
Okay, that is fine. You just came in. I don't want you to go on to this particular matter, but what we do, we give our guests 2 minutes to tell us what, aside what the papers are reporting, what they think they want Ghanaians to know about, and then you can come into this discussion.
What they want Ghanaians to know? Okay, thank you very much.
If you have any issue.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me say good morning to our church viewers, especially the good people of the Republic of SAR, Sandro of Akwatia Lobby and Likpe. And let me also say good morning to the former president. I haven't seen in a long while.
Yeah, I'm around.
That, Doc.
Hey, boss.
When you come on the platform, declare that you're MPP straight away. Good to see you. Yes. You Well, sorry I have to come in quite late. It's difficult to join a conversation when people have spoken before you came in. I don't know what they have said, and I'm going to rebut most of the times. But the doctor might have said is the one I'm scared of. As for Doc, I know he thinks Ghana.
I'm harmless, thank you.
As for him, he thinks Ghana. So, I don't know. The president's
assurance that he won't run for a third term.
He won't run for a third term. First of all, I don't even know where that particular conversation came from. I don't know who initiated that particular conversation. We have done it before as a country. If you check the 1992 Constitution, it is very explicit as to the number of years a president can be in office. And even President John Rawlings, who from his background as a military person from the days of the coups and the rest, people thought that in 2000 he was not going to hand over power. He did that very peacefully. He respected the Constitution. And when the time was up for him to leave the scene, he left. President Kufuor came, he left the scene. In spite of all the things that they planned, those of you followed that election very closely, all the meetings and all the things that they did, he stood his ground and insisted that the will of the people of this country must be respected, for which even the third-round elections in time, they had to boycott along the line. Because those were the days and people were planning that they go and take bodies and go and put them in voter and create the impression that they were killing their people in the region to create fear and panic. I remember
who made those.
You have forgotten. He was the president. I'm sure he was the.
Yeah, no, I remember. But you are saying that some people planned.
Oh yeah. All these issues came up. In fact, there was even a meeting. They even wanted to get the Supreme Court, to enjoin even the election, attach chance and the rest. They met on a Sunday. They wanted to do that. It was President Kufuor at the time who said, we can't do otherwise. We need to do the right. We need to respect the Constitution. And that is how they got angry when they met in Kumasi on their way to time. They fought in a hotel and then they all decided to come back to Accra and come and have their peace of mind. Yeah, the point I'm making is that eventually we crossed that particular bridge. Professor Mills came in. By God's own arrangement, they couldn't finish even his first term. President Mahama came, completed, won the next elections, lost, came back to win the elections. And so from where we sit, unless we do something about our Constitution, there's no way any president can say that for me, I want to run a third term or a fourth term like we are seeing in other parts of the world. I don't think it happens in Ghana now. Ghanaians will not permit anything like that. But this is a conversation I wish that we look at it dispassionately. We should open it up. Let's look at it. We have tried this since 1993 up until now. Are we satisfied with the tenure of office of the president? Is it the best for this country? Is it something we can do something about? I'm aware that the Constitutional Review Commission is meeting now. They are doing some work already. Is it the case that we can make some proposals to them that they should look at the constitution again. Now, if you go to advanced democracies, i.e. America and the rest, whether the president is there or not, the system is working. The institutions are working. And so, you, as the president, you are more ceremonial, you can't eviction, that will be run by the system. But the same cannot be said of our country. And so I am not too sure, from where I sit as a political person, you come into office, by the time you even finish putting your, forming your government, i.e. your ministers, your chief executives, your boards, and what have you, if you don't take time, 1 year it will take you to do that. As we speak right now, you know we have not finished appointments. You know, President Mahama is on record to be the fastest to have constitute, this cabinet. But beyond that, we have a number of appointments that we need to do. We have not finished up till now. Now, next year, internal elections are started. We are doing our branch elections, we are doing our constituency elections, we are doing regional elections. That will end up with national and the election of a flag bearer. And so that tends to take more attention from government. Now, if you want to do a major project, you want to build an Eastern Corridor road from Tema all the way to Paga. That is not a project you can do within 2 years. That's a project that can take you 3 to 4 years, even more. Now, you'll be going for an election. You need to be able to showcase what you have done. You need to be able to tell the people of this country that when you give me the mandate, based on the promise I've made to you, this is the work I've done. That is what is going to determine whether they're going to renew, whether or not they're going to renew your mandate or not. And so what we have seen over the years is that government tends to do things that short fix. Let's do something we can show for. So you see us hurriedly fixing roads in the night. The roads will barely last for 6 months. We'll come back to zero. In the night, we are fixing water. We are fixing light. We don't take time to do the things well. Because all we are planning to do, let's showcase results. Let's tell the people that we have done something. And for me, from where I sit, I don't think it's held is good for our country. And so, yes, presidents don't have enough time to plan well, to do the things that will really help our country. My view, if you ask me candidly, if you want to keep 2 terms for the president, I think that the number of years per term, we can have a conversation around.
How many years do you think will be enough?
You see, again, it's a very difficult situation. For instance, if you have a president like the one we just witnessed, a few years ago, led by President Akwatia, would you candidly want to allow him to stay in office longer than he did? You understand?
No
I know you don't. I know you don't comment.
Just give me a
would you
to hang himself?
Allow him to stay in office longer than the 4 years? That is where the problem is. And so sometimes in discussing this issue, it becomes very difficult.
Oh, no, but that's not the problem. I said every NDC president would let you
I've not said that. I've not said that. Now, if you get a president that is doing well, that all can attest to that, oh no, at least we can see evidence of his work. Something is going on. There's a change, Ghanaians want to see more of it. But if you have a president where we don't have any direction, we don't even know where we are heading. Are we going forward? Are we going back? Are we left or right? We are just roaming in circles and all that. You want him to exit power even before the election day.
So back to my question, how many years do you think will be?
I'm saying that it is
the starting point.
It's a very difficult issue for me to say. I wouldn't mind if I get even 5 years, with the hope that at least you have 1 year to put your government in place, put your government together and all that, make sure that all the institutions are set, everything is working. Then you have 3 years to govern. Okay, 3 years to govern. Then the 4th year, you are preparing for the next elections. I think it will be held. If you go to a place like Liberia and the rest, they are doing 6 years, right? 6 years, 2 terms. So the president has at least 12 years. If there's anything you want to do under the sun, 10 years is good time time for you to be able to showcase what you can do.
Okay.
Some of us who are in office, I just came into office for 7 years, and you go to our constituencies and the rest, and so people make it look as though you have been in office for 1 year or 2 years. Suddenly, they want you to fix all the problems. Meanwhile, yes, again, development is a process. Development is not an event. It's not something that can start today and finish today. And so, I thank President Mahama for the assurance. At least he has put to rest all this issue that because we have huge numbers in Parliament, we may do something, we may call for a referendum because an entrenched position in the Constitution and ask for him to go for a 3rd term and all that. Okay. He has settled the issue. That is not running for a third term. He will exit as provided for by the Constitution when his term is over. I am proposing that we need a broader conversation around this subject.
Okay.
We need to do it dispassionately. Let's assess President Mahama's term of office well and see could he have done better if he had more time. Let's look at President Kufuor. Let's look at all the other presidents, and then we can decide. But again, in having that conversation, we need to be very careful that the person who comes to the office is someone we can trust, that it can deliver indeed.
But if you are giving the number of years, you give it on the same place.
That is where the challenge is now. Because you cannot say this man because he's a bad person. You see, maybe what we can do, we can do even the 5 years. We can do 6 years. We can hold it. We can do 7 years. But then you make it easy for us to impeach the president if he's not performing. Do you understand? You put provision this in to make it. If you have to start anything like that, you can't start today and finish. So we can have the constitution that says, we from maybe the next 2 elections, the next one will be 2028, the next one will be 2032.
Yeah.
So we can say, for instance, that from 2032, the term of president will be so and so years. So that the president that will implement it will not necessarily be a beneficiary of it.
Right.
That way, I'm sure Ghanaians will come on board and accept it to
I'll just give you a minute.
Ghanaians will not come on board, and I'm praying that no politician who is aspiring to president listens to you and takes your advice. They should understand.
But I don't know if I'm also aspiring.
Even you, don't think about it, because look, the more you open slippery road, politicians are good at taking advantage of even small windows or small corridors. You understand? No. Before you come to power, see this thing. Before you get admission to the University of Ghana to do a 4-year degree, you know it's 4 years degree. You know when you're supposed to exit, right?
Yeah.
It's not as if you just went inside there and by your third you're like, you know. So you are running for power, you were campaigning for power, and you know it's 4 years. So you know everything. You put out a manifesto. Again, it's a 4-year manifesto. You come inside the day you are sworn in, you know that you are not guaranteed another 4 years. And we've seen people have done it. We've seen countries that have fixed their system and it has not been a problem. So the problem is not longevity. The problem is not how long you stay in office. That is not the problem at all. The problem is that we come into office and we are saying, look, so far, why hasn't the president finished his appointments? Why? It's especially those that do not even need, constitutional parliamentary review. Council of State, why has he not appointed them? How do you blame the 4-year system for that? Look, it's possible. There's a transition period. The president and president have done it. This president has appointed almost all his people in the transition period. So my point is that just because you can't do it, we shouldn't be rewarding inefficiencies or inactions of presidents, or we shouldn't even contemplate it. Look, it's 4 years. You knew that before coming in. If you cannot do it, the people of Ghana get to pass a judgment on you, and then you leave. That's all. Because any attempt to do that.
Okay. All right. Let's delve into the NPP matters. Yesterday, Ken Ejapon.
You know that students can fail.
Exactly.
You know that
then they punish you.
Receipts.
Then you are punished.
That is why even at a PhD level, they don't say it's 3 years. You are between 3 to 5 years to finish your PhD. So there's nothing wrong with extending the time at all.
Let's start from the Akwatia, because the New Patriotic Party has issued a stern warning ahead of the upcoming Akwatia by-election, vowing to treat any military interference in the electoral process as thuggery. Addressing journalists in Accra on Wednesday, the party's Director of Communications, Richard Aheba, accused the National Democratic Congress of plotting to use national security operatives to intimidate voters and disrupt the election. According to Aheba, the NPP has received credible intelligence indicating that the NDC plans to, quote, hide behind the guise of national security to terrorize some residents and voters in Akwatia, unquote. Mr. Moni, I mean, how do we ensure that we go into Akwatia and not repeat the old story about Akwatia itself in terms of by-election?
This French lawyer of antiquity, Michel Montaigne, said, and I quote, "I learn little from good examples, but more from bad examples, which serve as daily lessons. And then later from good examples, but more from bad examples. Which serve as daily lessons. So the bad example at Ablekuma North serve as a fountain of lessons from which the government, all the political parties, security agencies, intelligence committee should drink and drink copiously. We saw it coming. It was boldly written on the wall, but it happened. Security breaches of monumental proportions happened. People were beaten like animals. The question is, where was our intelligence system? We didn't need any Sherlock to predict that it was going to be nasty at Ablekuma North, and it did happen. Let's put it aside and then learn from that. IGP has deployed his men in Akwatia, but given the prognosis, given the predictability, given the inevitability of violence there, I think IGP should not only deploy, they should pour security men and women in Akwatia to ensure that there's no specter of violence there. Already, our democracy is bleeding. Our image as a beacon of democratic accomplishment in Africa is in tatters. The latest democracy index rankings also point to a slippery slope, point to a downward trajectory in democracy. All this should serve as a resolve for us to prevent violence in any form or shape to happen in Akwatia. We'll give the IGP the benefit of the doubt and the security and intelligence community. Please, nothing should be left to chance. Nothing at all. Nobody is above the law, whether MPP or NDC. Anyone who falls foul of the law should be made to taste the biting edge of the law.
Okay.
I expect the security agencies to be strict, firm, ruthless, but not intimidating. Make sure that nobody breaches the law in any form. The people should vote in security and choose the one who, in their wisdom, can best represent their interests in Parliament.
Okay.
So it's said our democracy is on test. Our security preparedness to nip in the bud any form of violence or tendency to cause mayhem in Akwatia.
Okay. All right.
Or on the line. We should not fail, otherwise the consequences just be incalculable.
Okay. All right then. Dr. Zaato, I mean, per our agreed practice, when it comes to policing during elections, whose responsibility is it? The police or the military? Because the MPP says we will fight against any military interference.
It's the responsibility of the state. And the state's security architecture or structure then determines what to do. But because it is a totally domestic civilian activity, you want to believe that it is solely that of the
Police. Okay.
Electoral violence happens in Ghana not because of the absence of the police. It happens in spite of the presence of police. So the presence of the police, even if you deploy 1 million police, might be necessary, but it's not sufficient to ensure safety and security during elections. Police might be necessary, but it's not sufficient to ensure that there's peaceful elections. In Ayawaso West, when the police was there, the security was there. They were there when Honorable Sam John was assaulted. They were there. So it's not that they were not there. It's not that it happened in a secluded place in Ayawaso West Wuogon where, there was no police there and some people went and cornered him somewhere and assaulted him. No, it happened when the police was there. The journalists that were beaten, they were beaten when the police was there. When Hawa Kumsum was knocked down when she fell, the police were standing just like literally there. It would take them less than 3 steps to go into rescue. They didn't go to her rescue.
That's not true.
When the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC guy was, they chased him. We saw him running, and we saw a marauding group of thugs following him. There was no single police officer also running, following him to save him. We saw the guy run, he fell, they started beating him. The police was standing just there, where he was lying there, crying and bleeding. So it's not because the police is not there. When the journalists, your colleagues were being beaten, the police was there. It's not like the police, they were there. Your colleagues, ask them. If you don't believe me, ask your colleagues, hey, when they were beating you, when they were slapping you, was the police there? They will tell the police was there. So again, you must understand these things, that the police is always there when this happens, not due to the absence of the police. 2, you must then understand that almost all the victims of by-election violence turn out to be what? Members of the opposition political parties. Sam George, when he was assaulted, he was not in government. He was a member of the NDC opposition party. 2, Hawa Kumsum is not in power. She was assaulted. The Deputy General Secretary of the MPP was assaulted, was not there. And then, of course, there are always those that are caught in the middle. In this case, journalists who are just doing their work. Why? How come almost all the victims of electoral or by-election violence are members not in power? 2, and how come that so far nobody, I've not seen it, maybe you may provide me with this, no member of the government or a ruling party has been assaulted during a by-election? How come? It's when you begin to look at these things, then you can see that, okay, then the idea of the intelligence that Mr. Efelmon was talking about becomes important. The idea that, look, there is impunity. At the heart of it is impunity. That there are thugs there are people out there who know that, look, if I assault a member of the ruling party, ruling government, I'll go to jail, I'm not going home. But if I assault a member of the opposition, I'm going home, I'm going free. That if I assault a member of the press, I'm going home, I'm going free. It is that mentality that we need to fight against. It is that idea that we need, because, wait a minute, why is it that we are in a situation where there are by-elections, almost all the victims are members who are not in power, almost all the victims. It is that mentality, it is that idea of impunity that we need to fight. And unless and until we do that, unless and until we get that done, then we are not addressing this issue. So again, you can send the whole of the Ghana Armed Forces there, you can send the whole of the police service there. If this mentality, this idea that if we do it, we can get away with it, it's not respected, it will not be. So that is the problem. That is, for me, the biggest issue here. So you then, if you are then a member of the opposition and you are going to a by-elections, you have legitimate reasons to be worried. You have a legitimate reason not to take the assurances of the police administration very seriously, because again, there is a pattern here. The pattern has been the members that are assaulted are those that are not in government. So if I'm not in government, I'm going for by-elections, no assurance of the police should tell me that not to happen, because again, also remember, the police have always given these same assurance at every by-elections. So the giving of the assurance is not new. Almost every IGP, almost every police administration has given the same assurance. As for this by-election, we'll make sure that it's not violence-free. It becomes violent. As for this one, it will not be to be. Look at the distance from Ablekuma North to the police headquarters. Look at the distance from Ablekuma North to the Greater Accra Regional Police Command. Look at the distance. Look at the number of police officers there. But it happened. So my point is that if there is an opposition party saying that we do not trust your assurances, it is based on evidence. Evidence that opposition parties are almost always the victims.
But if you look at the National Election Security Task Force, it is made up of the police and other security agencies. So if the military forms part of the National Security Task Force, can they be part of those who will be overseeing this? I'm asking this because the MPP says we don't want them at Akwatia.
You see, in this country, we are overstretching and overusing. Sometimes that's what we do. They are perfect tools for perfect jobs, but we keep using the military. Look, there are massive killings going on in the Savannah region. Communities have been burned. We hear about 10 or 2 people have been killed by bandits flying around, which is send the military there. When you send a look, the military is intimidating. Soldiers are by nature intimidating. There's nobody who sees a soldier like, oh, hey, see, how you do? No. They are intimidating. They are not trained. And I've heard it said, soldiers are not trained to go and be friendly to people. They are not trained to go and hold hands with two people fighting over a girl or two people fighting because somebody owes them money. They are not trained to go and be diplomatic. No, they are a killing machine. The army is a killing machine. They are trained to go out there, destroy the enemy, and come back. They are trained to go out there, use whatever force, use maximum force, destroy the enemy, come back home safely. That is the philosophy, that's the ideology of the army. So it is okay, it makes sense to them say, look, when you are deploying them to a civilian activity, wholly civilian activity, one, their main presence can be intimidating. So there are people who say, look, hey, because of this, I will not even go out to vote. Or because of this, I'm afraid that their soldiers say they may beat me. Because of this, they are willing. So it is also, again, legitimate for you to raise concerns that, look, like, hey, I came here. If there was a police officer standing in front of your gate, that's okay. Police do this and that. But you agree with me. If I came here and I saw a military man standing outside there with a gun, I may run back. Because it is not normal. That's not the normal thing. Military is not supposed to be the one providing security for such an installation, you understand? So if it's a purely civilian activity, if it is just for ordinary people to go and do the boring activity of voting and coming back home, and then you are going and you see that there are military men standing there with cocks, with their guns cocked, and I will run back home. So again, raising the idea that we are overstretching our army and that we are putting, and see, this is what always happens sometimes. Then the army goes there, and a civilian down or civilians do something stupid, they react like any army should, and then tomorrow we are blaming them. Tomorrow, like, okay, the army has molested civilians, have done this. Why are you using it in the first place? Look, within the police service, they have SWAT teams, don't they? The police have SWAT teams. The police have teams that can gadget up, can dress, and you yourself, you will say that, yeah, yes, but they are still police. Why don't we use them? Okay. Why don't we set up a special police SWAT? The police, they have anti-terror teams. They do. They have police officers, when they dress, they are almost dressed more, they look more menacing than a soldier does. Let's send them. If we don't have side teams, it is time for us to say, look, hey, every region will create a specialized police task force, arm them almost to the teeth, and give them the necessary so that they can go in place of the army. Okay. The more we keep pushing our army into civilian spaces, the more we are exposing them to this. And then when something happens, you say, oh, let's now start getting into civilian rule. Okay. That's not what they are trained for. That's not what we recruit them for.
Okay. All right, I hear. Mr. Boyo, I mean, how do we give assurances to everybody at Akwatia that, look, this election, you are safe and secure to participate in the process? Politicians only have solutions to issues when they're in opposition. The problem of this country is hypocrisy, sycophancy. We don't speak the truth. When you are in power, you wear different lenses. You see things differently. You speak about them differently. When you're in opposition, then the reality of issues now comes to you. Then you start backing and crying and screaming and shouting. And we are playing this football all these many years. And nobody wants to call a spade and make sure the right things are done. Suddenly, my brother has forgotten how they deployed the military in this country in the past 8 years. To the extent that even in Parliament, when we have an issue in Parliament, they bypassed the police, took the military over that night. We also happened. When in Techiman election, they deployed the military, they fired and killed civilians. And couldn't even prosecute one person. Suddenly you have forgotten. In Banda, what you did with the military. You see, Ghana is for all of us. We have chosen the path of multi-party democracy. What that means is that no political party will remain in power forever and ever. Whether you like it or not, you can perform magic, you can transform Ghana. It's a human nature. A day will come when you be shown the exit. And that is why when you are planning and you are inventing policies and programs, you don't look at just today and yourself. Consider yourself today in power and tomorrow in opposition. Okay. And that should inform the kind of policies and programs and decisions that you make. A few months ago, the security was a friend of the NPP. They applauded them. They were the best that has happened to Ghana. And that time we in NDC, we saw everything wrong with them. Suddenly the tables have turned. They have become our friends. We will defend them.
And now they are crying and screaming, issuing statements. We are not helping ourselves. I know a day is going to come when I'll come back to opposition. And so when the military, when they are doing something that is not right, we must be bold and courageous to say that what you are doing is wrong.
Okay.
It's not good for our democracy. When the police are not doing their work well, regardless of where I stand politically, I should be bold and confident to tell them that, please, for the sake of our collective peace, do your work well. Just maybe, I want to agree with the school of thought who think that even the security leadership, like the IGP and the rest, maybe should be appointed differently, or should be given a term of office where they have the confidence and the courage to operate as an independent institution. We use them anyhow when we have the power. A young boy can pick a phone and call and give a command. Well, in this country, when we saw people wearing a police uniform and what have you, driving in police cars, the IGP didn't know who gave the cars to them. They know how they got the weapons they were using. Fermented troubles, you have forgotten so soon. For me, Ghana, the only thing we have going for us today is our name, our image in the international community. That when you come to sub-Saharan Africa, Ghana is a beacon of hope when it comes to democracy. And you know the way the international media operates. It's as if they're always looking around for the bad news. They are looking for the bad news. That's why they will highlight out there. And so any investor that's really thinking of coming to our country, that's why they will go and see, oh, they are fighting. The country is not stable. If we go and put our money in there, one day they will create problems. And those of us who are in leadership, our level of hypocrisy sometimes is nauseating. We pretend as though we don't know all this that are happening. We pretend as though we are not behind these things. The macho boys and all that, we pretend we don't know. We do it. We are behind it. We are behind it. Can we speak the truth to ourselves? And stop coming to the media and look Mr. Nice, Madam Nice, and you go back and go and do the wrong thing? We are for a by-election. A colleague of us, hard-working gentleman, passed on. His name remains still living in the morgue. You are going to have a by-election. Can't we have a solemn, nice, beautiful by-election in remembrance of his memory? Must other people die?
So how must we do that?
In advanced jurisdictions, they are having elections without even agents standing there. They are having elections and declaring results without the police, without the military. Sometimes the students who conduct elections, have we not come to that point where we can do things differently? And that when we give people a position of responsibility, they must look beyond their political parties, the way we appointed them, and be nationalistic a bit, and think about Ghana. Must we fight at every... Go and check the history of violence in this country. It has always been acrimonious. Check the history.
That's why I want to find out, how do we put an end to that particular
We must stop the hypocrisy and the pretense and the lies and confront the issue head on. And we must take responsibility. Leadership of political parties. We must take responsibility. Don't say one thing for one part of your mouth and do another thing, or say another part of your mouth. The only time we tend to know that the truth and say the right thing is when we are in opposition. When we are in power, everything is okay. You know the things some of us escaped in all these elections. We have to run for our lives in the presence of the police. Why? Why? As I'm here right now, you are even scared if you want to go to Akwatia or not to go. What is going to happen? Per the police report earlier, they've confiscated some weapons, some guns, and what have you from some people. As to if those people brought those things there because of the by-election, or is the Galamseyers that were holding
that
those
announcement
things?
Was
you understand? It just came, passed through, and it ended there. Because by now you should be able to know if indeed the people brought those things in there because of the elections or that.
Honorable, that particular announcement, I didn't make the head and tail of it. These were people who were carrying guns, and they had permits to carry the guns. You met them, and they told you, these are our guns, these are our permits, legitimate. They are carrying them going. My point, so I don't know why the police said the people were arrested. First of all, why are you arresting people if you gave them the permit, the license to carry their guns, and they are carrying them? They were not smuggling them. They were not. So sometimes you see, you do this and you raise unnecessary tensions. You make it like there's violence. No, you gave me a license to carry a gun. You've seen the gun with me, and you asked me. I stopped. I said, "This is my gun." Okay. Do you have a license? Yeah, this is my license. So the state has given me permission to carry that gun. So why are you arresting me?
Okay.
That is an issue that is really worth interrogating.
Hey, why are you arresting
Just
me?
maybe I carry a gun because I have a license to do so.
Yes.
And the police granted me that license after they have checked my background and everything.
Yes.
How do you now come and arrest me on the street when you see me with the same gun? But when you are given a gun, there are restrictions. Not every place you can take a gun to.
Yeah.
For instance,
that point should be made clear.
That's right. It's not every place. If you only have to take a gun to certain places, you need to declare.
I'm not carrying a gun in Akwatia.
That's why public education is key on these issues. When you go and check the electoral laws, there are provisions that prohibits people from carrying offensive weapons to election areas.
Okay.
And offensive weapons includes guns.
Okay.
There was no election on that.
No, let me just land. You see, once the Electoral Commission has declared a place as a campaign zone, and knowing our history, it would have been prudent. If I'm going to that place today, maybe I have a licensed gun.
But you won't take it.
I won't take it to the place.
Did the police announce that?
Because, you see, we need to do more of public education.
Yeah.
You understand? If I have a registered gun, please give me a permit. It doesn't if I'm coming to your studio this morning, I should be carrying my gun here with me. I should be able to leave the gun in my car and come here. No, you see.
Why would you want to bring your gun here?
The point I'm making is, you see, sometimes.
Dog, if you allow me to land, maybe allow me to land.
Okay, wait.
I am saying that I wish I could speak the truth very well. You are there when you now kwai. Now so fata. They've given you license. When you are going to church or the auditorium, do you carry your gun to the church? If you are going to the presidency, even if you have a licensed gun, the security at the gate will not allow you to carry your gun to the place. Your mobile phone is your phone. You have registered it in your name. It's your course. You will not enter some offices with your mobile phone. They will take it away from you.
But are we saying that because the place we're going to have a by-election there, if I live in Akwatia and I have a license gun, I'm going to carry it with me? Is that what we're saying?
You see, listen, look at our Kumsin issue.
Yeah.
I can carry pepper spray in my car, in my bag any day. If I'm going for a by-election, knowing your history, even as our Kumsin, what you are alleged to have done in your constituency. If you receive a pepper spray, not just saying, by using it on people, you invite Jack Norrish, what is the name of those you invite them on yourself. Because the next moment, maybe they are scared that you pull a gun. You have brought a pepper spray. What next are you going to put from your bag?
I can't.
So let me
just trivialize.
Please let me.
You just did that.
When you did yours, I didn't say anything. I
don't know. You just trivialized.
I didn't trivialize anything. I just said the truth.
You did.
But dog, you are gagging me now. Now you want to determine what I say on set. When you were speaking, I kept quiet. Please, will you allow me my time? I am saying that yes, you may have a registered gun. Police granted you that permit. You have the license and everything. But it is not every place that you can carry that gun to. My expectation, after the police have done the arrest, was for them to have come out to do public education. You understand? Because many of us don't know that even though we have the permit to carry the weapon, we are not permitted to carry it to some places. Okay. Even if you have to carry it there, we need to disclose. So the police then can decide to either collect and keep it in safe custody for you, or they allow you to go in there with it. And I am saying that if you check the history of our by-elections, it has always been characterized with what? Violence. Yeah. And so nobody will allow you to carry an offensive weapon to such area, more so when our electoral laws are very explicit that you cannot do same.
Now let me ask you. Okay, Mr. Manu, you want to make a point now?
On the issue of public education, I think it should go in tandem with the strictest security measures.
Okay.
And I doubt if enough has been done in terms of public education. NCC, we all know, is chronically under-resourced. And I doubt if they had the means to go to Akwatia to educate the people on what they can do, what they cannot do, to educate the people on their democratic rights and limitations. Because pouring security men to Akwatia is not the only solution to prevent, only solution against violence. You should always go in tandem with public education.
Okay.
So public education is of crucial importance, and it can hardly be articulated.
Mr. Boyo, your Deputy General Secretary, Mr. Mugbande, has said that they will aid the security forces to arrest anyone who is being looked for the commission of for activities that they are being wanted for by the state in Akwatia. I mean, wouldn't that be a recipe for chaos if people should say, I'm going to resist your attempt to arrest me in Akwatia, a by-election area?
You see, Ghana is governed by law. You cannot resist police arrest.
That is true. In the real sense.
In a real sense,
yes.
You cannot. That in itself is a violation of the law.
Yes.
Once the police has a permit, a court order, or he has a reasonable, to suspect, sometimes even your personal interest, that you are arrested and taken out of a particular area, the police will do so. What we need to do, maybe, I'm not too sure, what my Deputy General Secretary want to communicate is that as a political party, don't go and engage in wrongdoing and run and come and say, because I'm an NDC member, we should protect you, we should hide you.
His words were
if you go,
he said he was sending warning to the MPP that if you are a member of the party or of the former government, that you are being wanted for actions of yours in the past government, don't come to Akwatia, because if you come, they will help the state to arrest you.
Well, I am not too sure. That was a very emphatic statement.
Oh, no, he repeated saying one to me. Yes.
I'm not too sure because why? I don't think government, the police as of now have not issued a statement that they are looking for anybody. The fellow has disappeared. Perhaps with the exception of the former finance minister, Ken Oforiatta, who is on the wanted list. I'm not too sure of anybody who is on the wanted list that we are looking for. Of course, if there's anybody on the wanted list who is hiding somewhere or decide to appear in Akwatia, why not? Every citizen should be able to report to the police that the person you are looking for is here, so please come and pick him up. That will not be out of place. But to the extent that there's no such report that I know of, that any former appointee as of now is being looked for by the police, and so therefore when the person appears there, you want to go and report them to come and arrest him. I don't know where this conversation is coming from. I didn't hear him. I didn't get the info. Oh, Dr. what's here? Oh, why, Harry? Why you throw your hands all over?
He has the freedom to throw his hands. Dog has the freedom.
So the point I'm making is that I didn't hear him.
Okay.
The context in which those statements were made, I'm not privy. I don't know whether it was made on a lighter note. I don't know if it was a very serious statement that was made and all that. So I'm unable to go into it and to profess a position or to suggest a position on it. Okay. But the point I'm making is that every Ghanaian has a right to assist the police in the discharge of their duty, more so when the police demand same from us. No, you have the floor.
Right. As well. Yeah, that's
smart political communication. When it comes to your general secretary or deputy general secretary, you see no evil, you hear no evil,
say that.
Acknowledge no evil.
Context of
it. No, I'm just saying. Now who is it? Attack labs? Very good, very convenient for you. And as I said, I see that. I see how you this morning and others have tried to trivialize the attack on Honorable Awa Kumsu.
Oh, you want me to repeat?
Everybody that has seen a pepper spray carrying. It's a defensive thing. In fact, sometimes women, the police Even when they come to conduct training
You go to
women, it is
Doc,
supposed
do you
to
go to church?
It's a Catholic.
Oh, you're a Catholic. You go to church. You go to the mass.
It is supposed, especially it's given to young women so that you can, if somebody's attacking you or trying to attempt to rape you or sexual
This
assault
is
you,
triviality.
you can
That's what
use
you
it
are
to defend yourself. Sometimes, please give them out. They do that so that people can protect themselves, especially if you are walking
So
in a place. If you are walking in a place that
No,
is dark,
answer the question.
you are walking in a place that is to protect yourself. And that is why a number of ladies have it in their handbags. Just so it's a protective tool. But it's glad you're doing it. I'm saying that I'm glad to hear you, an MP, trivializing a horrible, vicious, and deadly attack on the former MP. Because see, this is where the cowards outside there, this is where they pick their strength from. This is where the hooligans outside there pick their strength from. This is where the people outside there pick their strength. Like, okay, wait a minute. If tomorrow, you mentioned, and I'm happy you brought about that idea, if tomorrow power changes, then that hoodlum outside there thinks that, hey, maybe my government has come into power, then let me also go and do this. And that is a problem. When you sit down and you say that an attack on a woman who has just gone out there to either observe or to participate in an election, hit her, everybody, the whole world sees her, hit her, she fell. Look, when Hawa Kumsu fell, our democracy fell. When Hawa Kumsu fell, our collective conscience of people fell. When she got up, she gave us hope that we'll one day get up. And when she's telling us that you might fall today, you might fall tomorrow, but when you fall, don't lie there, get up. When you fall, get up, start moving. The point I'm making is she's shown her strength, dedication. Hawa Kumsu will not come out and see herself as a victim. She won't do that. She knows that you have budgeted for her. She knows that you have singled her out. But the point I'm making is that, look, this type of communication and this type of message is coming from a legislature. It fuels something out there. There's a theory called the lone wolf theory. I'm sure you've heard that. It's lone wolf or backing. What happens is that somebody sitting somewhere may take your words. I know what you are saying, and I will not twist your words or will not take your action. But there's probably somebody sitting down there who is probably loaded on drugs, who's probably loaded on low IQ, who sees these things and saying that, oh, it's a chance to go out and do that. If we are condemning violence, you cannot then say that a woman who was attacked viciously, that it says something, and no, don't do that, don't do that. It's horrible, it's wicked, it's dangerous. Okay. Let's appreciate the fact that
all right,
there is something in the water that makes all political operatives think that when their party is in power, they have a license to go and attack their opponents. There is something in the water. What is it that is in the water? Let's look for that element.
I'm grateful.
That's all.
Brother, you see, ordinarily, I wouldn't contest Doc on other things he has said. You see, but that is the hypocrisy I am talking about.
Okay.
This is the hypocrisy I'm talking about. You want me to discuss our concern?
I talk about Honorable Sam George. I condemn the attack on Sam George.
Let's move on. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
I don't endorse any attacks. I don't endorse any beatings. But do you want me to discuss the woman?
I get you. Thank you very much. Now, let's move on to Ridge Hospital. Because medical records from the Greater Accra Regional Hospital have confirmed that the nurse allegedly assaulted in the emergency department did not suffer any fracture or bone dislocation. Presented the findings of an investigative committee in Accra on Wednesday, August 27, 2025. The chairman, Dr. Lawrence Ofori-Boadu, said the nurse, Ms. Rejoice Chocho Botei, a rotational staff member, reported her injury a day after the incident and subsequently received medical attention. Quote, there was no evidence of fracture on her left wrist or dislocation of her right shoulder joint, as documented by the medical records, Dr. Ofori-Boadu stated. I've seen the Nurses Association also reacting to say there was, an objective for the committee to determine whether there was an assault or not. But this is what we have. Let me start with you, Mr. Agbayo.
Can I just ignore this issue?
Oh, you just want to ignore? That's fine.
Because really, sometimes it's sad, right?
So are you ignoring or you're talking?
It was a question I asked. It was a rhetorical question I asked.
Let me add this. Maybe you can take it from this angle. Now, the committee recommended strengthening security at the emergency unit. recruiting more clinical and customer care staff, repairing 40 diagnostic equipment such as X-ray, CT scan, and MRI machines, and expanding secondary level hospital in the region to ease pressure on Ridge Hospital. Dr. Bodo emphasized that addressing security, staffing, and equipment challenges was vital to preventing future incidents and maintaining public confidence in emergency healthcare delivery.
You see, medical professionals are human beings.
Yeah.
They have their own challenges, and their own issues that they go through on a daily basis. Sometimes those challenges, even domestic, can unconsciously come to bear in the discharge of their duties at the hospital. Anybody who is sick and goes to hospital is mentally not very stable. It's not a very normal human being. And so he has the potential of doing things that ordinarily he may not be able to do. The reason why, even when you're a medical practitioner and your direct person is involved in any condition, it's not advisable that you attend to the person. It's because the emotional attached to the person. If you take a needle and you are injecting me right now, you will feel the pain I am feeling because of the emotional attachment. That is why oftentimes you get somebody who is a bit distant from you. If you go to a hospital with an accident victim and you see blood oozing out, the patient is screaming and shouting as if he's dying the next moment, and in your view, the healthcare person there, or the doctor or the nurse there, is just watching or talking on his phone or playing, not doing anything, you are most likely to think that they are not paying attention or giving the care that the patient needs. My admonition is that instead of the leadership of the unions battling everybody and fighting the committee in the media, they should rather educate the public. I was having an interaction with a doctor friend recently, and he was saying that if you bring two patients to a hospital, one of them screaming and shouting, the other one lying there cannot even open his mouth and talk. From where they sit as health practitioners, that person who is quiet and struggling over there is dying faster than the one who is screaming and shouting. And so oftentimes, they may even want to pay attention to that issue because all of you are on a scale. But one situation is more severe than the other. But we are lay people, we are non-medical people. And so when we see a thing like that, there's the possibility that you think they are not attending to your patient. I'm admonishing them to do more of public education. That there are several ways that help people attend to patients without necessarily having to touch you or give you a medication. Based on the condition, they can allow you to just rest and the system can recover itself. When we know this and we see them in hospital, maybe we can tolerate it. I don't know the last time I went to a hospital. Sometimes when you stand there, you feel like throwing out. You feel like it's as if human life doesn't mean anything to somebody. It's as if we have seen people die every minute, every day. And so if your patient every die, so really is it news? That is the impression you get. I don't think there's anybody who wish for anybody to die. I know nurses and doctors that when their patients die, it is a major headache and pain for them. Some even cry, some even weep. Nobody wants that. But because you are vulnerable, it's your person that is involved. The way you appreciate their actions and everything, because they're cleaning your patient dying, then you see two nurses even laughing and doing those things. It's as if, look at this, they don't even care. And the doctor friend was telling me, sometimes it's good for them to do those laughter and the rest, to ease off their personal pressures and things that they may be going through. It heals them so they can do their work well. We need public education. Now, on this substantive issue, an issue happened at the hospital. The minister's office is not too far out from the Ridge Hospital. You know the Ministry of Health has been relocated to when you pass from President Rollins out towards National Health Insurance Headquarters. They share a wall with them now. That's where the ministry is. So it's barely 2 minutes away from Ridge Hospital. So the minister in his office heard that, oh, something has happened at the hospital, and nurse has been assaulted. He moves himself to try to find out what exactly is going on. He gets to the hospital, then somebody ran to give him a hug. He doesn't even know who the person is. He was accused of hugging somebody who was involved in the wrong thing. As a politician, if I step out of this student, somebody comes to give me a hug here, is there any way I'm going to say no? And yet, in a very petty and the usual, there's something else that you want to question some of these people. Are they doing politics? A minister should not hug a person who is not even aware that was involved in any wrongdoing. And yet that became something that people were jumping already at television and talking about. Let me just conclude. The minister now set up a committee. Please go into the bottom of the issue and give us a recommendation. The committee, doctors were part of the committee. Medical doctors, senior doctors for that matter. They finished their work and brought their report out. Then somebody come back on here and say, no, we disagree with the report from the information that we have. Meanwhile, this person who is making this argument was not an eyewitness. He was not the one that thing happened.
Thank you. I'm grateful.
This committee spoke to the eyewitnesses. Why are we doing this?
Thank you very much. Mr. Afeboni.
Our hospitals are human institutions. As with all human institutions, perfection is an impossible goal. So, but any act of imperfection is absolutely no justification for anybody to molest, to assault a medical officer or a nurse on duty. The nurses have the right to ventilate their concern over alleged miscarriage of fairness in the report. But I believe that should not be our focus. Our focus should be on the recommendations. He said that an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. How do we prevent such incidents from happening again in our health facilities? That should be our focus. We have a chronic issue of a low nurse to patient ratio, doctor to patient ratio. These are issues to look at. And also security. How do you beef up security to such an extent that nobody will have the right, the opportunity or access to molest a network of identity? I think this is what we should be looking at.
So as the committee suggests, the security should be beefed up at the hospital. Anyway, Dr. Zaato.
And also the incentives for the nurses and doctors.
How must we address this issue such that it does not repeat itself?
Okay. There's a general saying, or it may even be a truism, sometimes in government, that you never set up a committee unless and until you know the outcome of that committee. It's often said. So,
Hypothesis.
It's a hypothesis. Oh, good one. Okay. See, the PhD student is still good for that.
Oh, look at
hypothesis that, look, never set up a committee unless and until you know the findings of the committee. So it goes
unless you know
what they will say. Yes, you know the outcomes. You know what they will say.
Ah, really?
That goes.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Yes.
Exactly. It's a political process. It's a political process to manage a difficult situation. The case has just happened. You're like, you know what? Let's set up a committee. You get to choose who to set up the committee, right? You get to choose. And then you choose. Now, first, you give the committee a time. By the time the committee comes, again, we've moved to the next headline. We've moved to the next shiny issue. Where the stampers have come in. And then, again, it's a political truism. It's something that has come to stay. So I will look at that. Look, there's something happening here in this particular case. You have workers at an emergency public hospital dealing with some of the most vulnerable people in our country or in our human society. People who are sick, and people who always say who are sick in an emergency unit. Any day, any time, I stand with nurses and I stand with the working masses of the world. I stand with the proletariat. I can imagine a social democrat sitting here railing up against working masses of the world.
No, I never
you
did.
are not a bourgeois.
I never did
you
that.
are supposed to be a social democrat. Or you are a champagne drinking.
You are politicizing.
Are you champagne drinking bourgeois? But anyway, that's on the letter, he knows that. But the point is that I will stand with the working masses of the world. And I will start with the nurses. Look, the headline all over was that, oh, there were no fractures on this nurse. The headline all over was that, oh, nothing, she was fine. I'm like, really? Is that the headline? Is that the headline from this investigation? The idea that almost none of the equipment there works was not a headline? Look at the headline here. The headline that almost all the equipment that are supposed to be in the Greater Accra Regional Referral Hospital to deal with patients, none of them was working. That wasn't the headline. The headline is that a nurse who says people came to her workplace, assaulted her. The committee says she's not assaulted. But that became the headline. But there is severe revelations that there were shortages. Almost every single equipment there was obsolete or non-functional. It didn't make it a headline. It was buried in the story. And that is how we treat with this, because then we are moving to the next issue. Then we are moving it. That is Greater Accra Regional Hospital. If this happened at, do you know what is happening at the Tumu Government Hospital in Tumu, my hometown? Do you know what is happening in other district hospitals? Tumu is a district hospital, by the way. Sorry if I said regional. Do you know what's happening at Tumu District Hospital in Tumu? If this is happening here, do you know what is happening in the hospital in your district? These are legitimate issues. I am surprised that wasn't the headline.
Okay.
I was surprised that is not what we are running with.
Okay.
That an assault on the nurses. But any day, any time, I stand with the nurses.
A lot
of the working masses. But that's the point I'm making, Mr. Afo, and you agree with this that's the story. That is the Great Accra Regional Hospital. Great Accra, the seat of government, and almost everything in there doesn't work. How that didn't become the headline of the story beats me.
Okay, all right, thank you very much, gentlemen. So those who joined us for the news review. Okay, so Mr. Fred Agbanyo, Honorable, is the MP for Guan constituency, soon to be called Doctor, right?
Yeah.
What is it coming on so that we can prepare and then make the title ready?
Let me finish my defense.
I'll come for your member.
Dr. Joshua Zaato.
Now you do a party. You do a party, right?
Or if you can give me some money, why?
See, Honorable.
He's a political scientist and a policy analyst, and Mr. Felmoni is former GJA president. Well, just before we go, let's share with you our tips on, pensions for you today. Now, we say that, do you know that your pension is your future? At the National Pensions Regulatory Authority, our mission is simple: to ensure your pension contributions are safe, well managed, and ready for you when you retire. We license trustees and registered fund managers and custodian banks. These service providers are carefully approved to ensure your pension contributions are safe and properly accounted for. With NPRA watching over the system, you can rest assured that your future is in safe hands. NPRA ensuring retirement income security. So we do make sure that, before you retire,
say a big hello to Pakwesi, Moses, and the wife Diana. They are ardent viewers of this program.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you. And also to Moses Animal, he is a policeman in Takwa. He's watching us at this moment. So, Police Animal, to you and the other police officers in Takwa watching us at this moment, good morning to you. Now,
and by saying that we really want to have peace in Takwa, Akwatia by-election, let us go to that election and come out without even a fly dying. Let us be proud of ourselves that we have done it. We have done, we can do it. So please, everybody, please, let's go there and vote. We are only going to elect one person to come and add up to the numbers that we have. Okay. We are not going there to fight. Go talk to the people, campaign, share your views, whatever you can do. Tell them and let them, based on that, judge you and vote. For me, I am convinced that the NDC candidate will emerge victorious.
Okay, all right. Now, are you looking to do things differently to level up your skills and get ahead in this challenging job market? Statistics do show that it's tough out here for university graduates, with only a few of you landing jobs immediately after school. So doing things differently is what you have to do, and that's exactly what the Design and Technology Institute, DTI, is all about. DTI offers programs ranging from precision welding and fabrication to design innovation, including graphic design, sound engineering, animation, photography, amongst others, as well as entrepreneurship. Their programs are internationally recognized by the American Welding Society, Pearson BTech, and CityVet, so you can shine here in Ghana or anywhere in the world. So if you're ready to do things differently and chart your own path, check out DTI. Visit dtiafrica.com/admissions or give them a call on 0541693534, 0541693534 for more information. We'll take a quick break. On the AM show, we'll be back with more. MFA at the Tiakosia will be here with more for you. Do stay on.